Hi, diddly dee, everybody. It's me, Fax5'em, here with a mini-series that, honestly, I just kind of felt like working on it, and I feel like there's a lot of stuff I could enjoy talking about, even if the topic is depressing. The topic in question being womanhood in Nazi Germany, or the way the Nazis viewed women, that sort of thing. I bring this up because, I'll be real with you, I find that gender and sex is just one of those things that elites like to use to keep the rest of us in line. You know, it's the crap like, oh, you're not a real man unless you conform, unless you obey. Same with like, you're not a real woman unless you do what I tell you to, that sort of thing. And also at the same time, something about, gender and sex, it just activates some sort of really weird base emotion in a lot of people's psyches, I guess. I mean, I guess a lot of people's identity tends to be tied up in their own view of masculinity and or femininity and or similar such stuff. So, well, who better to talk about that, or to talk about it or study it than folks who tried to manipulate people in every way of every facet of their life, the literal effing Nazis. This speech is from Joseph Goebbels, the Joey G, the creepy-looking vampire dude. He does look kind of like a vampire. Well, yeah, I do read the background of the speech when the speech actually starts. So, let's get into this bad boy. Background. Despite their not exactly progressive view of women, German women in general supported the Nazis. Goebbels gave this speech on the 18th of March 1933, just 6 weeks after Hitler took power. The occasion was the opening of a women's exhibition in Berlin. Goebbels lays out rather clearly what National Socialism intends to do to change the role of women in society. German Women by Joseph Goebbels. German women, German men. It is a happy accident that my first speech since taking charge of the Ministry of Public Enlightenment and Propaganda is to German women. Although I agree with Treitschke, Fax5'em here. I assume I pronounced his name correctly. It seems that Goebbels is referring to a Mr. Heinrich Gotthard Freiherr von Treitschke. I want to apologize to any German speakers, who, according to his Wikipedia page, lived from 1834 to 1896. He was a German historian, political writer, and national liberal member of the Reichstag during the time of the German Empire. He was an extreme nationalist who favored German colonialism and opposed the British Empire. He also opposed Catholics, Poles, Jews, and socialists inside Germany. I think it's pretty clear why Goebbels would have liked him. Although I agree with Treitschke that men make history, I do not forget that women raise boys to manhood. You know that the National Socialist movement is the only party that keeps women out of daily politics. I'll be honest, I find it, I don't know what's the word, maybe a little strange that he brags about it. Like, I guess it's just, I'm used to the language of modernish America that's more like, it's the natural, traditional role, or keep women in the home, but I guess I just find the idea of being proud of keeping women out of politics and using those exact words to have really caught me off guard. This arouses bitter criticism and hostility, all of it very unjustified. We have kept women out of the parliamentary democratic intrigues of the past 14 years in Germany, not because we do not respect them, but because we respect them too much. We do not see the woman as inferior, but rather as having a different mission, a different value than that of the man. Therefore, we believe that the German woman, who more than any other in the world is a woman in the best sense of the word, should use her strength and abilities in other areas than the man. The woman has always been not only the man's sexual companion, but also his fellow worker. Long ago, she did heavy labor with the man in the field. She moved with him into the cities, entering the offices and factories, doing her share of the work for which she was best suited. She did this with all her abilities, her loyalty, her selfless devotion, her readiness to sacrifice. I've read through various anti-feminist stuff in the past, and surprisingly, this is the first one that actually acknowledges the fact that women in pre-industrial times often partook in a lot of the same kind of hard manual labor that men did. I also did not expect that either. The woman in public life today is no different than the woman of the past. No one who understands the modern age would have the crazy idea of driving women from public life, from work, profession, and breadwinning. But it must also be said that those things that belong to the man must remain his. That includes politics and the military. This is not to disparage women, only a recognition of how she can best use her talents and abilities. Looking back over the past years of Germany's decline, we come to the frightening, nearly terrifying conclusion that the less German men were willing to act as men in public life, the more that women succumbed to the temptation to fill the role of the man. The feminization of men always leads to the masculinization of women. During an age in which all great ideas of virtue, of steadfastness, of hardness, and determination were forgotten, it should not be surprising that men gradually lost his leading role in life and politics and government to women. Okay, so first I have to say that if you are reading along, yes, I did change the grammar around a little bit just to make it a bit easier to understand. But I really want to comment on, I just want to kind of gesture in the general direction of this last paragraph. I mean, come on, he's talking about it like, oh, you know, the men are becoming like women and the women are becoming like men, you know, the weak men, that sort of thing. I mean, this is really not too different from like the whole, you know, oh, the low T soy boy type you hear about nowadays. It's like every generation is like, oh, the men are not manly anymore, and thus the women are taking the place of men. And it's like, ay, freaking vey. Like, you'd assume they would have come up with something new by now. Oh well. It may be unpopular to say this to an audience of women, but it must be said because it is true, and because it will help make clear our attitude towards women. The modern age, with all its vast revolutionary transformations in government, politics, economics, and social relations, has not left women and their role in public life untouched. Things we thought impossible several years or decades ago are now everyday reality. Some good, noble, and commendable things have happened, but also things that are contemptible and humiliating. These revolutionary transformations have largely taken from women their proper tasks. Their eyes were set in directions that were not appropriate for them. The result was a distorted public view of German womanhood that had nothing to do with former ideals. Here we go. Now this is more typical kind of anti-feminist stuff. You'd expect to hear this sort of thing in even a modern-day anti-feminist screed. Looking at you, Dave Sim. I'll have to see if he wrote more stuff. I know he actually did. I guess I'll just have to see if any of it is good. Actually, wait, now that I think about it, I do remember reading some that was kind of good. I'll see if I can make some videos about them. A fundamental change is necessary. At the risk of sounding reactionary and outdated, let me say this clearly. The first, best, and most suitable place for the woman is in the family, and her most glorious duty is to give children to her people and nation, children who can continue the line of generations and who guarantee the immortality of the nation. At the risk of repeating myself, I mean, I do just have to say, like, this is the parts that, you know, sounds more like traditional anti-feminist claptrap, that annoying stuff, you know, this idea that everybody should conform and it's just natural to do so. The woman is the teacher of the youth, and therefore the builder of the foundation of the future. If the family is the nation's source of strength, the woman is its core and center. The best place for the woman to serve her people is in her marriage, in the family, in motherhood. This is her highest mission. This does not mean that those women who are employed or have no children have no role in the motherhood of the German people. They use their strength, their abilities, their sense of responsibility for the nation in other ways. We are convinced, however, that the first task of a socially reformed nation must be to again give the woman the possibility to fulfill her real task, her mission in the family and as a mother. The National Revolutionary Government is everything but reactionary. It does not want to stop the pace of our rapidly moving age. It has no intent of lagging behind the times. It wants to be the flag bearer and pathfinder to the future. We know the demands of the modern age, But that does not stop us from seeing that every age has its roots in motherhood, that there is nothing of greater importance than the living mother of a family who gives the state children. Okay, let's be real here. That's just some creepy stuff right there. I mean, it's like your job as a mother is to give the state children. I know this is literally a totalitarian state we're talking about, but it just legitimately unnerved me to read that, both in my head and out loud, and I just have to comment on how much that statement just really creeps me the heck out. You know, especially with Goebbels saying that. I mean, have you seen Goebbels? Like, that dude, he's just... like, he looks kind of like a vampire or something like that. It's like, yes, give the state children so I may feast on their blood. Something like that, I mean. Yeah. German women have been transformed in recent years. They are beginning to see that they are not happier as a result of being given more rights but fewer duties. They now realize that the right to be elected to public office at the expense of the right to life, motherhood, and her daily bread is not a good trade. You know, you see this zero-sum mentality in, well, reactionary and anti-feminist stuff all the time. You know, this idea that because a woman is allowed to work outside the home, is allowed to be elected to office, that it somehow takes away from another woman's ability to be a mother and a housewife if she wants to. Heck, it even takes away from a woman's ability to have a family and a career. And like, I seriously don't get it. Like, if you are a housewife and you like being a housewife, okay, but how is other women working preventing you from being a housewife? I seriously don't get it. I mean, okay, I can understand maybe you're like, oh, I don't think women should be outside the house. Okay, I get that's your opinion, but I honestly don't get how other women being outside the house is stopping you from, you know, living your best life as a housewife. A characteristic of the modern era is a rapidly declining birth rate in our big cities. What's this? A far-right individual bemoaning the decline of the birth rate? Some things just never change. It's like, I don't know, just this reduction of people to just numbers. You hear this almost word-for-word rhetoric nowadays. It's painful. In 1900, 2 million babies were born in Germany. Now the number has fallen to 1 million. This drastic decline is most evident in the nation's capital. In the last 14 years, Berlin's birth rate has become the lowest of any European city. By 1955, without emigration, it will have only about 3 million inhabitants. We do have hindsight bias to know that the Nazi policies actually did not have the effect they wanted them to. A lot of people did flee Berlin during Nazi reign, as it is rather difficult to live in a city that is rubble. The government is determined to halt the decline of the family and the resulting impoverishment of our blood. There must be a fundamental change. The liberal attitude toward the family and the child is responsible for Germany's rapid decline. Okay, so I know that when, you know, Hitler and Goebbels and the Nazis used the word liberal, that they meant it in a different context than what you'd expect from a modern American audience to use it for, but come on, like, this is cheating. He literally says, the liberal attitude toward the family and the child is responsible for Germany's rapid decline. I mean, like, swap out Germany for America or the West, and it sounds almost like something you'd hear word for word on Tucker Carlson's show or something like that. I mean, you know, the liberal attitude towards the family is what's causing our decline. You know, stuff like that. Like, We must today begin worrying about an aging population. In 1900, there were 7 children for each elderly person. Today, it is only 4. If current trends continue, by 1988, the ratio will be 1-to-1. These statistics say it all. They are the best proof that if Germany continues along its current path, it will end in an abyss with breathtaking speed. I just want to comment on how surprisingly prophetic that statement was, or rather that warning. as Germany did fall down a very deep abyss, going on its, well, then current path. I guess he did get one right. Oh, God. We can almost determine the decade when Germany collapses because of depopulation. We are not willing to stand aside and watch the collapse of our national life and the destruction of the blood we have inherited. The National Revolutionary Government has the duty to rebuild the nation on its original foundations, to transform the life and work of the woman so that it once again best serves the national good. It intends to eliminate the social inequalities so that once again the life of our people and the future of our people and the immortality of our blood is assured. You know, I'm not entirely sure what social inequalities he's referring to. I presume it's something like related to an old school class system, like he does mention class struggle or something like that. But concretely, I'm not entirely sure what he means by social inequalities. If anyone is aware, please let me know in the comments or send me a carrier pigeon. I welcome this exhibition whose goal is to explain and teach and to reduce or eliminate harm to the individual and the whole people. This serves the nation and popular enlightenment, and to support it is one of the happiest duties of the new government. Perhaps this exhibition titled The Woman will represent a turning point. If the goal of the exhibition is to give an impression of women in contemporary society, it does so at a time when German society is undergoing the greatest changes in generations. I'm aware of how difficult this is. I know the obstacles that had to be overcome to give this exhibition a clear theme and a firm structure. It should show the significance of the woman for the family, the people, and the whole nation. Displays will give an impression of the actual life of women today and will provide the knowledge necessary to resolve today's conflicting opinions, which were not primarily the result of the contemporary women's movement. But that is not all. The main purpose of the exhibition, The Woman, is not only to show the way things are, but to make proposals for improvement. It aims to show new ways and new opportunities. Clear and often drastic examples will give thousands of German women reason to think and consider. It is particularly pleasing to us men in the new government that families with many children are given particular attention, since we want to rescue the nation from decline. The importance of the family cannot be overestimated, especially in families without fathers that depend entirely upon the mother. In these families, the woman has sole responsibility for the children, and she must realize the responsibility she has to her people and nation. We do not believe that the German people is destined by fate to decline. We have blind confidence that Germany still has a great mission in the world. You know, this is a rather interesting word choice to me. Like, I've never seen anyone use the term blind confidence in a positive light. Like, I mean, just the way I'm used to these words, you might hear something like absolute confidence or without a doubt or extreme confidence, but it is kind of, maybe it makes more sense in German, but I've never seen blind confidence used positively. Like, I'm used to seeing that sort of thing used negatively, you know, to imply that it's like someone leapt without looking or something like that. We have faith that we are not at the end of our history, but rather that a new, great, and honorable period of our history is now beginning. This faith gave us the strength to work and not despair. It enabled us to make great sacrifices over the past 14 years. It gave millions of German women the strength to hope in Germany and its future, and to let their sons join in the reawakening of the nation. This faith was with the brave women who lost their husbands and breadwinners in the war, with those who gave their sons in the battle to renew their people. This faith kept us standing during the need and desperation of the past 14 years, and this faith today fills us with new hope that Germany will again find its place in the sun. Nothing makes one harder and more determined than struggle. You know, I'm a grown man, but it took me at least 3 tries to read that line, you know, nothing makes one harder or more determined than struggle, you know, without laughing. I mean, I know that the Nazis, they used hardness to refer to a type of toughness and maybe stoicness, but come on. Nothing gives more courage than to face resistance. During the years when Germany seemed destined to decline, a new kind of womanhood developed under the confused veneer of modern civilization. It is hard, determined, courageous, willing to sacrifice. During the 4 years of the Great War and the 14 years of German collapse that followed, German women and mothers proved themselves worthy companions of their men. They have borne all the bitterness, all the privation and danger, and did not fail when hit by misfortune, worry, and trouble. As long as a nation has such a proud and noble womanhood, it cannot perish. These women are the foundation of our race, of its blood, and of its future. This is the beginning of a new German womanhood. If the nation once again has mothers who proudly and freely choose motherhood, it cannot perish. If the woman is healthy, the people will be healthy. Woe to the nation that neglects its women and mothers, it condemns itself. We hope that the concept of the German woman will again earn the honor and respect of the entire world. The German woman will then take her pride in her land and her people, in thinking German and feeling German. The honor of her nation and her race will be most important to her. Only a nation that does not forget its honor will be able to guarantee its daily bread. The German woman should never forget that. I declare this exhibition open. May it reveal all the former errors and show the way to the future. Then the world will once again respect us, and we will be able to affirm the words of Walther von Vogelweide, who had this to say about the German woman in his famous poem. "He who seeks virtue and proper love should come to our land. There is much joy. Long may I live there." And there we have it, the first of the mini-series on womanhood in Nazi Germany. As for how many parts it'll be honestly as many as I feel like, as long as I can find some interesting stuff to read about it and comment on. I do want to thank you for making it this far. If you can, please like, comment, and/or subscribe. Give me that dopamine rush that only strangers on the internet are able to provide. Or don't. I'm not your boss. I'm just Fax 5'em. And right now, I'm signing off.